So here I am on my sales page, and let's say they filled this out. In order to test this form, I have this test design. In order to test this, instead of doing $1, I can actually come and hit 0 and save that. Let me refresh it. Okay, so before I fill it out, because I know that it's going to send me to a generic thanks page, let's just take a second and let's make a one-click upsell page. So again, in Pages, I will add a new page. This is going to be the funnel one-click. And this one is, again, actually going to be a sales page. And in my sales page options, I'm going to put something very different in this one. So we'll get to it in a second, but let me just save it so that we have the URL. Zoom out slightly so I can see the buttons. I got a width issue. There we go. So I'm going to publish this one, and all I really want from here is the URL, remember, or the web address right here, because we want to take that and we want to make it the thank you page of this order form here. So right here, thank you page or web address, I say web address, and I do want to pass the person's info, right? And I save that. So here, this is what I just updated. I made it $0, and I made it so when I fill this out, it should go to my one-click. So let's do that. Okay, so here's where I'll explain. If you don't use a 4 and 15 ones, you can't test this form right now, because a 4 and 15 ones is a valid card number. They do what are called mod 10 checks. So as you're testing, you have to use the test card. You can't just put in gobbledygook where Infusionsoft won't let it through, because this card is valid. Basically, when you submit an order, Infusionsoft first checks, does the card appear to be valid before they even send it off to be processed. This one appears to be valid, so they'll send it to be processed. In this case, where it's $0, it won't even process it, meaning it'll go through. So now I can test my form, and it should send me to my one-click upsell page. Now, on the one-click upsell page, like we discussed yesterday, remember how there's variables up here in the URL, all this garbage? Well, one of the variables, and I know you guys probably can't see that from back there, but one of the variables is the email. So it says contact 0, email equals blah, blah, blah. So here's what I have to do. The one-click upsell, this is the one piece of trickiness we haven't talked about yet. I would go maybe to this page, this Order Now button, and I want to right-click and view image, because all I want is the address of the button. And this will all make more sense in 1 second. This is, by the way, how to make a one-click upsell is already in the site on video, how to do it. So the details of this, again, just follow along with what I'm doing. I want to know what the button is, so that on my one-click upsell page, I can say, let me go into the HTML. In here now I can say, okay, I want to, let's give them a form. So let me just paste the button for 1 second. What I don't have yet is a one-click upsell form. So we made a squeeze page, we made a web form. We made a sales page, doesn't require any form because it only has a button. The order page is an Infusionsoft form, right? The one-click upsell is an optimized press page, and it needs an Infusionsoft form to basically process that. So what I'll do here is I will use the legacy, because it's the only one with the ability to create orders, and I will add a web form. You can, kind of. I'll show you what. Well, since this is based off purchase, if they fill out this form and purchase, the campaign builder is reading purchases. So that's why this will work. I'll show it to you in 1 second. So here's our funnel one-click. And this form, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slim it down so it's just the email. So I click Edit Form. I say, I don't want first name. Whoops. I hover and delete it. I don't want first name. I go back. Save. I think that's all I really want. So I come in here to publish, and I say get the code, HTML unstyled. And actually, let me save this first. Save. And now let me publish it. So here is this web form code from Infusionsoft. Now this is where we get a little crazier. Infusion put in all this stuff that I don't really care about. Here's what they've got. And let me see if I can zoom. You guys can kind of see that. So this right here is a single field. It's hidden. It doesn't matter. The user won't see it. This is also hidden. This is hidden. This is hidden. Right here, this stuff shows from right here. This is all the email field. You can say div class equals infusion field, label for infusion field email, blah, 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 email, whatever. So what I want to do is I want to say, I don't want the user to see this. Remember we talked about how we don't want them to be able to change it and screw themselves up? What I want to do is I just want the field. I don't want all this garbage around it. So I'm just going to delete the garbage. And now I'm left with this field, right? Input, field, email, and so forth. Type right now is text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to hidden. And then over here, I'm going to say the value of this field is the email. Remember we did some PHP the other day? The email from the URL. There we go. And the way I know exactly what the field name is this one that we just filled out, and I said there's all this garbage in the URL. I'm looking for the exact name, and I know that it's contact 0 email. Well, I guess you guys can't see it too much anyways, but it is contact 0 email. I won't go look at it. So here I say contact 0 email, and the button, right here on the button, input type equals submit, value equals submit. I can change the button a little bit, so that I can say type instead of submit, because it's going to be this little ugly tiny gray submit button, the default form button. Instead I'm going to say type equals image, source equals, and that's why I grabbed this image down here. Whoops, didn't want stickies. So I'm saying the image source is this button, value equals submit, so on and so forth, update. So now our one-click upsell page should have just a link. If I did that right, I might have missed something. Let's look. Input type equals image, source equals, what am I missing here? Type equals image, source, blah, 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 blah. Unless this is just the wrong URL. Let's test it. Looks right. Well, you know, this is decoration. Let me just get rid of this and go back to the way it was, just so we can test it right now. So I'll go back and say submit. That's fine. And update. There we go. So here's our little submit button. Now, right now, because, let me just show you this. Right now, if I deleted this stuff off the URL and I hit submit, it's going to tell me, hey, you have no email, right? If I put the email back in the URL, it should have an email. Let's try see what our coding issue is. When I didn't put it, you're right. Contact 0 email. So I'm giving it the name, contact 0 email. I need to say equals test@test.com or whatever. There we go. Now when I submit it, it should go all the way through that form to the thanks page, and that would be the final thanks page, which again, we could make an optimized press if we wanted to, just so things look a little bit more consistent. So let's just make a quick little funnel thanks. And I would make this a sales letter. Not that we're going to sell them, but I make it a sales letter because the squeeze pages have those arrows and stuff. And all I really want to do here, if I go down to my headline real quick, is I just want to say thanks, right? And up here all the way at the top, this link, again, we needed a thank you page. We created a form for the upsell, right? A web form for the upsell. This link becomes the thanks page of that form. And we are about 2 seconds away from testing this thing all the way through. Okay, did I publish my page? Right there, publish. Okay. So now, when we go to the squeeze page, this is your customer saying, you know, yes, at no.com. And it gets to this page here, which in a few seconds will have a button, you know, video sells me, whatever. I click, and I come through, and this, imagine it being much prettier. Whatever.com. Visa 4 and 15 ones. Enter one-click upsell page with good copy, graphics, bullets, whatever. I buy. This person just bought 2 things, right? And the technical details of all that we just covered in, how long did that take? 20, 30 minutes? The design we already showed you, that's a whole funnel. This is why earlier when you raise your hands, who has this? You know, the rest of you should have this. Is there any reason anybody, by raise of hands, could not get a host, install WordPress, put Optimized Press on it, and do some of this stuff following the videos? Does anyone think that would be an issue? No. Pretty straightforward, right? So all the crap that we've been talking about, all the copywriting and all these little details, are they starting to come together a little bit for you? That's the whole funnel. If you put good copy in there, if you work within your teams, let's say tonight, and do some of this, and you ask for feedback from people about, you know, what's going to sell, what's not, you could build this, okay? And once you build this, what do? You go get some affiliates, and you give them an affiliate link that leads to the squeeze page. So let's finish that off.